Keep your face towards the sunshine always, and shadows will fall behind you. Walt Whitman.
There is just no getting around that turning bad things into good things is up to you. Deepak Chopra.
Any kind of dancing is better than no dancing at all. Linda Barr.
Make each day a new horizon. Christopher McCandless.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Goldstuck, and I'm a sixth form boarder from Greenwich, Connecticut. Before I start this chapel talk, I think it's best if we get acquainted with each other. Here are a few important things to know about me. 1, I love to talk. I am literally incapable of keeping my mouth shut for more than a few minutes. My favorite thing to say is, this is so random, but because I genuinely have a million thoughts circulating through my brain at any given second that I feel obligated to share. I am also unable to walk past someone I know and not stop to have at least a 10-minute conversation with them, even if I have somewhere to be, which is proven to be extremely problematic in the past. As my first grade teacher would say, I'm the definition of a social butterfly and always have been. 2, the concept of stage fright is foreign to me. I don't shy away from attention, and probably never will, whether that be speaking in front of others like I am right now, acting in the musical, or dancing on stage, which will bring me to my next point shortly. I finally realized that this is incredibly abnormal before the winter musical preview last year. I was backstage with the entire cast, and all I could hear around me was, I can't even explain how nervous I am. Or, I wish the whole school wasn't here right now because I'm not mentally prepared for this. I, on the other hand, couldn't think of anything more exciting than to have the entire school watch me pretend to be a mermaid while swimming across the stage and singing simultaneously. I also love the camera, which is why I was convinced I was going to be an actress growing up, until I realized that acting is actually much harder than it looks, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't effectively fake cry and probably never would be able to. And now to number 3. I love to dance. When music comes on, I'm physically unable to fight the urge to get up and move, no matter how hard I try. This is why I am always the first to arrive at our school dances and one of the last to leave, because being at a boarding school dance to me is like what a 5-year-old feels in line at Disney. Pure happiness and sheer excitement. In fact, I think the DJs at these dances probably hate me due to the fact that at every single one, I desperately try to get them to dance, and even with my best efforts, they never leave the stand. Or maybe it's because I approach the booth an unhealthy amount to request song after song after song when they're just trying to play their sets in peace. This brings me to the topic of this talk, dance. I started dancing when I was 4 years old, and 14 years later, I can't stop. It is what makes me the happiest, and I honestly don't think I could live in a world where I wasn't able to dance. Whether it be practicing during rehearsal or standing under the stage lights before a performance and looking into the dimly lit crowd, I feel like my truest self when I dance. While I absolutely love dance, ballet is the one style that I can't say I've ever felt passionate about. The emphasis on technique, the classical music, and the fact that your hair has to be in a tight bun for rehearsal, it's all too much for me. I would so much rather be in hip-hop or jazz class, where the music is upbeat, the attire is comfortable, and I'm free to jump around and let loose, so to speak. But if you you know anything about dance, you know that ballet is its foundation, which meant that weekly ballet classes were non-negotiable growing up. Before Westy, I danced at the same studio for 12 years. In these 12 years, a lot of drama unfolded. The way my studio was set up was as follows. There were essentially 5 levels. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, and then company, which was its own group and were known as the cream of the crop. Company had their own special routines, strictly danced with each other because they were an exclusive group, and always had planned photo shoots, which was the part I was most jealous of, as I'm sure you already guessed. The youngest members of the company were usually around 14, so I spent my childhood idolizing them and hoping that by the time high school came around, I would be one of them. In terms of the other levels, they were based on 2 factors, age and skill. Naturally, I was in a lower level for ballet than I was for hip hop and jazz, and this was fine until many of my friends started getting chosen for company. Getting chosen was all I wanted, but I soon realized that my lack of ballet skills meant that I most likely never would be, because, again, ballet is the foundation of dance. This was heartbreaking for me. Although it doesn't seem like a big deal, it was hard to see the girls I grew up dancing with get chosen to be a part of something that I finally realized was out of the question for me. Dance, something that used to make me the happiest, suddenly made me feel nothing but sad, stressed, and insecure. When 9th grade rolled around, I had made up my mind. Seeing as my school ended that year, I had to apply out and decide where I would be spending the next 3 years of high school. Some went to our local public schools, others went to a number of day schools, and many went to boarding school. Although I had sworn I would never leave home, regardless of the fact that my sister had done just that the year before, I had decided that I had spoken too soon, and it was the right choice for me. As silly as it sounds, I knew that if I stayed at home, my dance situation would do nothing but make my high school years stressful, as if there isn't enough stress as it is. And, as I'm sure my teachers know, stress from school has always been enough to send me over the edge. I loved my old school more than anything, and I just wanted to replicate the experience I had had in boarding school form. Luckily for me, Westy was essentially the grown-up version I was desperately looking for. During my last performance at my dance studio before coming here, I felt a mix of emotions. Sad, because I knew that it was such a big part of my life and always had been, but also excited for what was to come. Little did I know that choosing to go to boarding school was the best decision I could have possibly made. When I finally arrived at Westy, I was faced with my first decision, picking a fall sport. This was exciting for me because due to my chaotic dance schedule, I had always had to opt out of sports for dance. I decided to sign up for cross country, which was actually a no-brainer, as my family is the type that most people joke about, the type that run 5Ks on major holidays. In fact, the Thanksgiving Gobble Gobble 4-miler is probably one of my favorite events of the year, aside from the Jingle Bell Jog. It was at the Gobble Gobble 4-miler 6 years ago that I zipped past my incredibly athletic sister with a mere mile to spare, causing her to forfeit the race and me to celebrate like I had never celebrated in my 12 years of life. Needless to say, Thanksgiving dinner circa 2014 was incredibly awkward for everyone involved. But this was all just for fun. I had never pushed myself and had no idea that I could even run more than the average person, or that it wasn't necessarily normal to look forward to running a race on Thanksgiving as much as the turkey dinner. On the first day of cross-country sophomore year, we ran mile repeats, and I was absolutely terrified. But at the end of my first mile, I realized that I'd run faster than I ever thought I could. Since then, I've been able to feel the same way I do about dance when I run, and have developed a second passion that I wouldn't trade for anything: Not only that, but I've been able to continue to dance every day with people who do nothing but lift me up, and dance teachers that laugh with me when I forget to point my feet while helping me improve in the process. I guess what I'm trying to say is that although it sounds cheesy, sometimes what seems like the worst situation can actually have a positive and unexpected outcome. If you had asked my 8th grade self what life would be like for me as a senior in high school, I would have probably said that I would be going to day school, dancing until 10:30 every night, and then rushing home to do homework with no time to spare. I am now able to not only dance every day in a stress-free environment, but also run with the cross-country team and pursue so many other things while making lasting relationships in the process. If I hadn't been rejected from the company, however, I most likely wouldn't be here. Now, 2 months into my senior year, I can't even imagine who I would be or what life would be like if I didn't come here. I know that I wouldn't be as independent as I am now, or be passionate about so many things, or even be as happy if I didn't spend my high school years at Westy. So, if you take anything away from this talk, I hope it's this. The next time things don't go your way, just know that something great is definitely on the horizon. Thank you.